So the story of how we met, it actually starts with my grandparents. I was going through a really hard breakup with a woman I thought could be the one, just broke my heart into a million pieces. And so I was putting myself back together from that experience. And my grandfather was, his health was failing. And so my mom convinced me to spend some extra time with them every week. I would drive them to some cool lunch place, and we'd take like 2 hours to drive out to the Oregon coast or up to the Oregon mountains or something like that to get clam chowder. They began telling me their story. It was the first time in my life that I had ever heard a real lifelong love story. They were still madly in love after 63 years of marriage. And so it was on one of these long drives home where I had this lightning bolt idea because I was longing for the love of my life. I wanted what they had. I was like, wow, I really would love a relationship like this. My parents are divorced. All my friends' parents are divorced. And so I thought to myself on this drive home, I said, I want to interview America's greatest marriages. I want to talk to couples just like them, have these incredible lifelong love stories to find out how they did it so that I can find my person and create a beautiful love story as well. And so I called up my best friend. His name's Jason Miller. We've been friends a long time and said, hey man, you want to do this journey with me? We will interview all these couples and put it into a book so that we can learn what makes lifelong love happen. And then we can give it to anyone else who's interested. And he said, sure. So we called it Project Everlasting. We jumped in an RV. My grandfather had passed away, so we brought my grandmother, Jason, and a documentary film crew, and we drove 12,000 miles interviewing hundreds and hundreds of amazing couples, America's greatest marriages, to learn their secrets for what makes love last. And so the Today Show heard about this. They had us on the Today Show. We were on all these morning shows. Simon and Schuster published the book. We wrote the book. We're doing this book tour, and we're done with the book tour. And I'm finally at home, and I go over to my grandmother's house, and we're just recounting on how amazing this journey had been. On her coffee table was this bridal magazine, and I heard my still small voice say, pick up that magazine. So I pick it up and I flip it open, and it flips open to this page called the Los Angeles Wedding Expo advertisement. I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, this would be an amazing place to sell books. Because it's like got 3,000 brides, 6,000 people, and they're all there focused on wanting to get married and like build their love story. And I'm like, this would be a great place to sell our books. So I call up the number in the ad and I talk to the lady who's running this expo and tell her I would love to have a booth. And she's like, oh, no problem. It's going to be $1,500 and so on and so forth. And I'm thinking, man, I don't have that money. Like, there's no way I can fly down from Oregon to Los Angeles, pay $1,500 plus the flight, the hotel, all of that. And so I literally tell her, I go, look, if you know of anyone who wants to donate their booth to a good cause, here's who we are, two bachelors that went on a road trip to find out the secrets to what makes love last. And she literally laughs on the phone. She's like, okay, well, no thank you. Click, hangs up the phone. 4 days later, she calls me back and goes, is this Matt Boggs with Project Everlasting? I said, yeah. She goes, you'll never believe what happened. She told me that her best friend, who always buys a booth, had in a family emergency, couldn't come to the expo, and literally said the words, if you know of a good cause to donate my booth to, I want to keep my booth. I don't want to cancel it. I just want to give it to a good cause. And she was like, actually, a guy earlier had that same thing. So she was saying, do you want the booth? All you have to do is get your butt down to California.
Okay. All right. So how Matt and I met. A friend of the family asked me to help out. They had a DJ, bilingual DJ business. Our friend of the family said, hey, why don't you come out this weekend, come out to the LA Convention Center. We're having a bridal expo and I need people to come and get bookings for appointments and come and see our showroom. I said yes. So I thought, okay, great. I'm going to go help out a friend. You know, at the time I was dating somebody. This was a relationship that I was in for about 2 years, kind of on and off. The relationship was a little bit challenging. I just kind of questioned, what's our future? My objective was not to meet anybody at this LA Convention Center Bridal Expo.
And we set up at the Los Angeles Wedding Expo thinking everyone's going to want a book about what makes love last. And nobody wants a book about what makes love last at this wedding expo. I couldn't believe it. Like, people would come up and they'd pick up the book and, oh, how cool, and then set it back down. Nobody was buying books. And we were like, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. And I get it now, like they're all interested in wedding DJs and honeymoons and cakes and all the stuff that you're planning your wedding. I think we had sold like a total of 3 books on day one. And it was a 2-day expo. And so finally, like in the late afternoon, I'm going to go get some food and some fresh air. So I feel my intuition say, go down this particular route to get out. And I'm walking down this row of booths, and there in front of me, I see the most beautiful woman I have ever seen.
This room is filled with a bunch of booths. There are brides and bridesmaids just walking through, and music and all kinds of elements, from music to lighting to flowers, wedding organizers, all kinds of wedding things, catering. I'm there. I'm kind of by myself. The music is going. Not very many people. Things are just kind of winding down. Just kind of scoping the scene, just seeing who can help, saying hi and bye to people. And I see a gentleman with great attire. He's got this beige sports coat, some Puma sneakers, some great jeans, and his hair is done. He is looking really good. And he's staring at me as if I was a target. And I'm thinking, that's really weird. Why would this white guy, no offense, why would this white guy come and talk to me? Like, I'm looking in the other opposite direction just so that I can kind of show him that I'm not giving him attention. So maybe he'll just pass by.
And she's all dressed in black. And she's got these black pants on, this black top, black high heels, and she's dancing like she's doing these salsa moves. And I'm like, what am I going to say? Like, I have no idea what to say. So I come up with this really cool plan of exactly what I'm going to say. And I walk right up to her. Like, I'm just like, okay, now or never. Like, you got to go. So I walk right up to her. And the moment she turns and looks at me with these beautiful brown eyes, like she's just gorgeous, what I was going to say evaporates out of my mind. I have no idea what to say. And all I can notice is that she's still kind of dancing. And so I literally say to her, so are you teaching salsa over here, or are these salsa lessons? And she has a confused look on her face, like, really?
I come back and he's right in front of me and he's like, hey, are you teaching salsa over here? And I'm like, I turn back and there's this big banner behind me that says DJ and music and lighting. And I'm like, no, this is a DJ booth.
And she looks up at the sign and it's a wedding DJ company. She's like, no, we're promoting my cousin's or my friend's DJ company. I'm like, oh, well, let me help you promote. I'm working a booth down over there. And eventually I'm like, hey, we should hang out. Like, let's go out sometime. Let me take you out. And she was like, no, I don't even know you. And I'm like, well, of course you don't know me. That's why we're going to go out. How are you going to get to know me unless we go out?
I'm listening and I'm trying to engage and also thinking, this is odd. I should not be talking to you right now. And kind of, what do you want? But not really. And he immediately says, we should go on a date. And I'm going, I don't even know you. And he says right back, not even a split second later, well, how are you going to get to know me if you don't go out with me? And I'm going, oh, and he can talk. Like, are you kidding me? I'm in trouble. If I even think about giving him my phone number, there's no way.
And she's like, oh, that's too smooth. I don't even like it. It's too smooth. And I'm like, I'm not trying to be smooth. I'm just trying to go out. And she's like, no. And I'm like, well, are you dating anybody? And she was like, well, I'm not exclusive, but I'm kind of dating somebody. And I'm like, well, I'm dating, but I'm not exclusive either. Like, let's hang out. And I'm like, look, I live in Oregon. I'm only here for 2 days. We should go out tonight. That's why, because after tomorrow I leave. And she was like, even more of a reason not for me to go out with you. Why would I go out with somebody who's not from this town? Like, I don't want to get into a long distance relationship. And I'm like, all right, that's fair enough. And so we talk a little bit more, and then I don't feel like I'm making any headway. Like, she's not giving me any real signs that she's interested. No indicators of interest, no kind of openings.
He said, are you going to be here tomorrow? I said, I can't go out with you. He goes, okay, are you going to be here tomorrow? I'm going to have to tell the truth. That's just who I am. I said, yeah, I will be here tomorrow. He's like, okay, well, I'll just see you tomorrow. And I said, all right, see you tomorrow. And I went, oh, in my head, I'm thinking, what just happened? What just happened here? So next day, come back. About middle of the day, he comes over, says hello, and then he starts working the booth for me. So he pulls in, it seemed like a circle of 10 women. Hey, here you go. You got to get this DJ company. And he's helping me out. And I'm going, oh my gosh, I don't know whether to be grateful or to be embarrassed. The gals all talk to him and they're all giggling and laughing. And I think, another red flag. Okay, now you're talking to other ladies. I don't understand. Like, what? So I let him do his thing, and he grabbed a couple bookings for us, and that, I thought that was awesome.
Thank God this was a 2-day event, because the next day comes, we're still not selling any books. And I'm like, why am I here? Why did this door open up for me? Why did I get called to open up this Wedding Expo magazine? Why did the lady cancel and then donate her booth to us? This doesn't make any sense. And so my intuition is like, maybe it was because of that woman. Maybe it's because of Irene. At that point, I met her, knew her name. And so I go back over to Irene. We keep talking, and I work so hard that day to get to know her. At the end of the day, I'm like, okay, I'm going to ask her for her phone number. So I sign a book to her, walk over, because I'm thinking, okay, at least I've got to prove that I'm a published author. Maybe that will impress her enough that she's open enough to give me her phone number. So I give her the book. I say, hey, I would love for you to read this. I would love to get your number. We can stay in touch and just talk. And she was like, all right. And so she writes down on a piece of paper and hands it to me, and my heart sinks.
He's trying to get my phone number, and I said, I'm pretty busy. I don't have a ton of time. He's like, let me have your phone number. Let's talk on the phone. Let's text. Let's chat. So I asked him for his card, wrote my email address on the back of the card, and I gave it to him.
It's not her number. It's her email address. And she was like, if you really want to get to know me, email me here. I'm like, ugh, fine. We leave. And full on, I don't think she's interested. But that night, I send her an email. And we start emailing back and forth. And we email for several weeks.
Finally, we get to a place where after about 2 months, he's going to go off and travel somewhere that he doesn't have Wi-Fi. He's asking for my phone number so that he can communicate via text message. So I agree. Okay, I will give you my phone number. I wasn't quite ready to talk on the phone. I felt a little bit intimidated. I didn't know what he thought of me, because I truly did think I'm just another girl. But with so much effort in emailing, I thought maybe this could be something. Perhaps he is a stand-up guy. Who knows? But I won't know if I don't try.
We talk on the phone, and about 2 months into this relationship, I end up coming down and we have our first date. On that first date, it was pretty awesome. It was pretty special.
So in October, we went on our first date. He actually stayed out in LA for a couple of weeks, and we went on our second date. We went out to a place called Mama Juana's, where we salsa danced, and I didn't know how to salsa dance before that night. And he taught me a few moves. We had a great time. I could feel the sparks. It was so much fun. I had such a blast. And I knew that night, I'm in trouble. This could be something really great. And I hope that this guy knows that I'm already feeling something for him.
And by the second date, I was hooked. We went salsa dancing on our second date. And she was goofy, and she was fun, and she was like no other woman that I had ever met. So beautiful, and so authentic, and so down to earth, but also had just the right amount of goofball energy, which is super important to me because I'm such a goofball and such a nerd. And I was like, oh, dude, this woman is awesome. And then it just evolved from there.
Well, my first impression of Matt was that he was extremely charismatic and had every right word to say in the right moment. Super handsome, really good looking, charismatic, and first impression, I don't know, maybe he's just a player. Having the right thing to say at the right time, I don't know about this guy. I need to take care of myself and guard myself. And if he really wants to get to know me, he has to earn it.
What was your first impression of Irene?
My first impression of Irene was that she was gorgeous. I felt like her energy was expansive. I saw her like full of life. I saw her also standoffish, like she was super skeptical of me. And I literally could not tell if she was interested or thought I was like a player, or if she thought I was just, like, I felt her super closed off, but I was really drawn to her.
What do you think Matt's first impression was of you?
So in my opinion, Matt was on the prowl. I think his first impression of me was, ooh, this girl looks good. Let me go get her number. Just like any other girl that looks good. Let me go get her number.
What do you think Irene's first impression was of you?
So my first impression of her towards me was, I felt like she was not impressed. And she was really standoffish, and she was really like, prove to me that you're a good guy. Prove to me that you're not just some player, that you don't just want to hook up. And like there was this standard in her that just radiated like high quality woman and authentic. And I felt drawn to her, but I felt her basically saying, look, I've got a standard. You haven't earned it, bud. And I'm not just going to kind of go out with somebody that I don't know. I'm not going to kind of give myself over to someone that I don't know yet. I really respected that. But there was enough openness that made it seem like it was okay for me to come back and keep talking to her. I have no idea what she said. We're actually going to discover this as we roll it back and the editor cuts these two things together. Here's what I've come to believe, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this. The chance of us meeting at that wedding expo with 6,000 people there is 1 in 6,000. I mean, things had to line up and be so coordinated. And so in the coaching that I do with women and helping them manifest their man, there's a principle that I absolutely believe in. And that is that when we become a match for the relationship that we would love, our believing it is in alignment, we have an open enough heart to allow love in, and we're taking the step that we know to take. In other words, I felt the yes to be at that wedding expo. You felt the yes to be at that. Well, you weren't supposed to be there either.
No.
You lean into just what feels like yes energy, what feels expansive, and then you let God do the rest. Spirit will take care of it. You will absolutely meet the person who's supposed to be your person. And as long as you're taking those steps and you're leaning in, trust that you cannot miss them. That was one of my biggest fears before meeting Irene. I'd go to the gym and I was like, well, I just don't want to make sure I miss her if she's here. Or I'd go to the grocery store and be on the lookout. I don't want to make sure I miss her. If I see her, I got to go talk to her, like that kind of energy. And that's lack-based, scarcity-based, fear-based energy. And I'd finally come to this place of way more relaxed and more just what I call love abundance in operating at the expo. And I firmly believe that's what helped me meet you. And this understanding that we wouldn't miss each other. Like Spirit's not gonna have us miss each other. Mm-hmm. And that kind of takes all the pressure off. That helps us lean in to the present moment. And if I could leave you with one message, it would be to lean into that energy. The trust that as long as you're taking whatever step is yours to take in that moment, Spirit will guide the two of you together. What's your takeaway from our story?
I second that. If you have the desire for love, just lean in and let Spirit guide you. Let God guide you. Let your heart guide you. You will find your person. But it takes one step.
So feel a big hug from us to you. And if you have found your person, I would love to hear your story in the comment section below. Go and share with us how you found them. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you soon.